Hi, everybody. I hope everybody is settled in for a nice, cozy afternoon. We're going to be playing with some mixed media today. We're going to be doing the humble pears. There's something about pears for a painter, for an artist. There's just something. And pears are a really, I won't say simple thing to paint, but they challenge a number of different techniques. So that is always a good thing. And I love the color of them. They're happy. So you can use greens and yellows and reds, and there's so many color varieties that you can use. And I just thought it would be fun to do something mixed media with the humble pear. So that's what we're up to today. As far as giveaways, of course, we have 3 of them. And we've included a Valentine kit, and it includes the surface, the stencil, and the pattern for it. And of course, there's always some other goodies in there too, including some Dynasty black gold brushes. So you're going to chat in the chat box, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, just hit all the buttons. Come and join us in the chat, ask a question, chat among friends, whatever you want to do. And then all those names will go onto our wheel at the end of today's live. And 3 of you will win one of those Valentine kits. So we have lots of goodies, lots and lots of goodies. So before we get started, though, I want to say a couple of thank yous. I got a lovely parcel today from Kathy McAllister with a birthday gift in it and a lovely card. Kathy, thank you so much. She painted me a very unique sugar skull. Thank you. And it's been added to my collection of wonderful scully things. And I absolutely love it, Kathy, and thank you so much. It's just phenomenal. I was so touched when I opened it. And yesterday, I leaked a lot. I got a phone call from our local florist and telling me that I had a delivery coming. And so I anticipated getting flowers. And when they arrived, the young lady made 4 trips to the van and brought me 4 bouquets of flowers. They're absolutely spectacular. So I have to thank the people that sent them. Of course, I got one from my bestie, from Deb Antonick. She was so wonderful. She sent me a gorgeous bouquet of flowers. And then another one from Mary Amos and Linda Safranco. Mary is Linda's mom. The 2 of them sent me an absolutely beautiful arrangement of sunflowers, yellow roses. It's just yellow, happy flowers, daisies. It's just fabulous. So many thanks to those 2 ladies as well. Plus, there was 2 bouquets from the various members of my membership group. And the list is long and distinguished, I will say that. And the flowers are absolutely beautiful. So thank you to my members for that. You guys were absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, you made me very teary-eyed and appreciative yesterday. So thank you. It was a very nice way to start my birthday weekend. So I'm very touched and very grateful. So thank you very much. And then today I got a wonderful birthday card, a hand-painted birthday card from Gail Woolsey. And I wanted to say thank you very much, sweetie. I really do appreciate the card. It was just lovely that you took the time to paint it for me is just even more special. So it will go into my neat stuff cabinet along with the fabulous sugar skull that Kathy McAllister painted for me. So I'm going to stop now before I start leaking again. And oh, look at the birthday wishes. Donna Pultz and her husband Rich are waiting for the snow to arrive. So are we. We're apparently going to be getting some too. And oh, thank you, everyone. That's so nice. Linda Giesbrick, good morning. Frigid day here in the PEG. Oh, I have a hot cup. My husband's got a fire on. Yeah. And $63 from Linda Safranco. This is the remainder of your birthday. Aw. And they're donating it to the Puppers Fund. Aw, that's so sweet. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you. So there's a name. Lisa Hansen. Hello. Anne Fogg. Hello, sweetie. She's one of my favorite people. She's just a lovely woman. And oh my heavens, the chat is going by so fast I can't see who's here. Cindy Braden, you're very sweet. Kat McDonald, hello. Gail Jensen, Deb Daniker, there's my girl. She's saying hello to everybody. Miss Mays, Gizmo, Airy, and Taz. For those of you who don't know who Taz is, she's the newest, the demon. Taz is the newest addition to our family. I've really been missing my little studio friend. Everybody in the house has a cat, has an animal. Gizmo is very much my husband's cat. Maze, of course, is Renee's dog. And then Airy is very much my daughter's cat. And I've been wanting a kitty. So I opened up one of our local buy-sell trade things. And lo and behold, a lady across the river had a litter. She had one kitten left in the litter, and it just happened to be a little female. So I called her up to see if she was still available. And we went out the next night and picked her up. And she is just she's so stinking cute. Anyway, so now I have Taz. Taz is a perfect name for this little one because my husband said, somebody said something about her and she's a little devil. So Renee called her Satan. My husband said, Satan spelled backwards is Nataz. So that's how we came up with Taz. And it's very appropriate because she's a holy terror. And she even scares the Malinois in the house. So she's so adorable, though. She's very cute. So she's my birthday present. And my hands are covered with the little tiny scratches. She is about barely a half pound. She's very tiny. And she toddles along behind Gizmo or Airy, and she looks even smaller, but she's very sweet. She's very cute, but she loves to play, and she's a handful. So now we have the little one. Every time she does something wild, remember her purpose in life is entertaining you and looking cute. She is very cute. She's all black, except for the very tip of her tail has a little white patch, and it is very little. It almost looks like it was dipped in paint. And then she has what looks like a little necklace. It's just a little few strands of white right here. She's so stinking cute. Sharp kitty teeth and sharp kitty claws. Holy smokes. So, but she's also very affectionate. She falls asleep in my lap every night, which is so cute. So today, we're going to be playing with some mixed media. Now, when in the pattern, I included a sheet of a variety of images that you can use for the background, if you so choose. If you don't have the paper that I'm going to use, you can use that, or you can create your own. There's all kinds of fun ways to create your own papers. So we're going to get started on the humble pear. I like the surface. The one I'm working on is a 6x6. The original piece is on a very small canvas. And of course, I seem to have misplaced it. I had them sitting here so that I would have them handy, and now I can't find them. I swear. Oh, there they are. Just a little out of sight, that's all. So this is the original. It's actually a 4x4. I love this one. I think there's something about this. I don't know what it is about pears. Artistically, from a technique standpoint, they have an interesting shape. And because of that shape, light hits them in different ways. Shadows fall in different ways. So it just makes for an interesting piece to paint. This one, it actually involves quite a few things. It involves stamping in the background. It involves a little bit of decoupage. It involves glazing. It involves stenciling. So there's lots of fun little techniques going into this. Now, this one was done originally with the paper that I'm going to use today. But we did I did this one, which is simply an enlarged version of it. Guess who came for a visit? Just a sec, real quick. This is Taz. She's a little monkey. Aren't ya? There we go. When I say she's tiny, she's very tiny. She's just an itty bitty little thing. And she's a holy terror because everything is a toy, including my brushes. Hey? We just had to show you to her because she's so stinking cute. But look at this tail. Look at this tail. It's got a little white spot on the end. Okay, Peanut. Off you go. She's so cute. She's my little buddy. Taz is officially 10 weeks. She's 10 weeks. And I would say roughly half a pound at this point. She's very petite. And she terrorizes the dog, which is hilarious. Big tough Mal is scared of a half-pound kitten. She's super cute. So this is the piece we're going to be working on today. The nice part is in this background here where I've used a stencil, the original used a Harlequin. In this one, I used like a waffle stencil or a check stencil. But honestly, you can use almost anything. As long as it's kind of open and meshy, you can use almost anything. I was digging through my stencils the other day, of which I have many. And one of the things that I noticed was anything with a point or even a rounded edge that points down or creates sort of a vertical or horizontal pattern really works well for this type of thing. So this is what we're going to be playing with today. I love it because you can manipulate it so much. You can add more. You can take away things, put more things in if you like. But this is what we're going to be working on. So I just think it's fun that this design can translate so nicely to either a larger surface or a small one. But we're going to play with that. So my surface here this is a 6x6 piece of MDF. You can use a canvas, you can use an art panel, you can use watercolor paper, you could use a journal page. You are not restricted to using precisely what I have here. You can make this work for a variety of things. Now, as far as the background color, you can use warm white, you can use a little bit of light buttermilk or parchment color. I've got a little bit of light buttermilk on here. One coat, that's all I needed. I am going to grab my handy dandy sander here. And we're going to give this a light sanding. There we go. Doesn't have to be much, just a light sanding just to smooth out any rough bits. Now, I have a sheet of this. This is Tim Holtz tissue paper. I've had this for a very long time. I'm not even sure if they still make this one. I love it, though. I love this paper. I have several rolls, the big rolls of this. And one of the reasons that I love it so much is this. Who knew? I love the cancellation stamps. I love the script in there. I love the variety of imagery that is in this. Now, we're only going to be using a small portion of this. And how you use it or whatever you want, it doesn't have to be straight. It can be like diagonal. You can just use a random look if you want to, but I think that's what mine's going to be. So I'm going to cut myself off a piece of this, roughly wide enough to accommodate the surface. I love this stuff. And then we're going to decide which portion we're going to use. I'm a big fan of the cancellation thing. That's just me. I love that. So I think I'm going to keep this piece right here. And then I'm going to tear it in half. I don't necessarily want it perfect. There, that's the portion I'm going to use. These bits that I tear off, they go back into my bin. Because you never know when these little bits will come in handy. They can be used for all sorts of fun things. I kind of like the irregularities of this. This might be a bit much. Oops. Okay, come on. There, that's better. I don't want this to be perfect. There, look at that. So I've got lots of pattern in here. I've got some of that texture, the script in there. I like the fact that it's got, some different things in it. I love this. So I'm going to set that aside now that it's torn. And we're going to add some stuff to the painted background. And this part is really easy. Move my stencil. I gotta grab some stamps out of my bin here. Good Lord. So I got a stamp pad. And I have some butterflies. What else have I got in here? Oh, there's my script stamp. So I wanted my script stamp for this. And I'm going to load up my script stamp. And I want to just randomly put some imagery in this background. I kind of like that. Now, most of this is going to be covered, so you really don't have to work that hard. And I want a butterfly or a bug of some sort. Oh, there, I've got a butterfly already on the stamp pad. And I'm going to put one there. I like butterflies. I like bees. And I think we need a cancellation stamp in there somewhere. I have a bunch of them. Who knew? Okay. There we go. Ooh, that stamp needs cleaning. And then I've got a little bit of, I love this. I just want to put a little bit of that in. So I've got a little bit of stuff going on in here. There we go. Oh, perfect. Cancellation stamp. And I'm going to set this aside. I've got tons of stamps here. I have quite the mess going on in this table, believe you me. I found these at the dollar store. And they're wonderful. They got this little postage stamp thing on the outside, and then you can put whatever critter inside that you want. I love that. So I'm going to dry this to make sure that ink is really dry. And I love that, considering those are dollar store stamps, the design is very nicely detailed. Oh God, no, Linda, it's never perfect. I'm just better at solving problems, that's all. I like the imperfections. I mean, it might look like it's perfect, but it's really not, believe you me. So we need a little bit of matte medium. You can use Decoart's matte medium. My paint table is always clean. Okay. Mine has not been clean in 3 days. I have been dealing with a head cold. And it kind of laid me out earlier in the week. I had no energy whatsoever. But it's slowly coming back. Taz is a handful, let me tell you, but she's so sweet. But she's definitely my kitty because she fell asleep in a bowl cozy. I know that sounds funny. I have a cozy that a friend made me that I use on my soup bowl. And I keep it on my desk because sometimes I bring my bowl of soup downstairs because it gets a little chilly down here. And I had it sitting on my desk, and Taz walked across my keyboard and got into the bowl cozy, curled up, and went to sleep. And it was just so stinking cute. And when she woke up, she was sitting up and just looking at me like, what are you doing? But yes, bowl cozy. She's sitting in a bowl cozy. In case you were wondering how small she is, that's how small she is. That's a bowl cozy. Holds like a big bowl of soup. But yeah, she's falls asleep in it. She's so cute. Yep, she fell asleep in the bowl cozy. Oh, yeah. Yes. She's so very much was my kitty. So we have our surface ready and we have our paper ready. I'm going to grab a nail file and my little spritz bottle. Now, if you do any kind of decoupage, any kind of mixed media where you're adhering paper to another surface, this is a great trick to know. I keep a little spritzer bottle on my painting table all the time, and I keep it full of water, just plain water. And you mist both sides of the paper, and it's just a little bit of plain water. You can use distilled water if you want. So now my paper is wet. I'm going to take a little bit of that matte medium and I'm going to put a coat over the surface. Again, don't worry about getting it accurate. You can go over the entire surface. It's fine. All it's going to do is put a nice barrier between everything. So I'm going to pull my paper. There we go. I put it too far. There we go. Because it's wet, it will move. So then you can take your fingers and smooth it out. Just like that. That's what aprons are for. So the nice thing about working with wet paper is that paper shrinks or stretches when it gets wet. And then as it dries, it shrinks back to its original position. And what you get is a nice firm fit. Like it tends to be nice and tight to the surface. And you also don't get any bubbles or blisters or ripples in your paper. So you end up with a really nice smooth painting surface. And then you're going to dry it. Now, the matte medium that I'm using for this piece in particular, I'm a big fan of DecoArt's matte medium, huge fan, but it is extremely difficult for us to get it up here north of the border. So this is the one that I have been using lately. This is from Denko, En Couleur Ink. They're out of Montreal. Canadian-made product, absolutely fabulous. Works just like the DecoArt matte medium. So, fabulous product. So if you're in Canada and you can't find matte medium, hello, Demco makes a fabulous matte medium and it works with all of your acrylic paints. So you don't have to worry about anything going sideways. Oh, Barb Schwabel just joined us. Hi, Barb. Well, there's Jess. She's on a dump run. Jess is still in the process of moving, so. And Beth Root, hello. So there we go. Look at this. So we have a nice, smooth application. Yes, Nancy, it does work very well with fabric. So if you have trouble with it, it is a good idea just to dampen the fabric a little. It doesn't have to be dripping wet, but just to dampen it, yes, you'll have a much better time. Especially if it's a cotton, if it's a natural fiber, you're going to have a much easier time with it if you put it on when it's damp. Years ago, we used to paint angels, and their dresses were decoupaged fabric, and then when you put all the shading and the highlighting in, you get these gorgeous angels in these, extraordinary gowns. Part of the problem is the fabric would suck up the medium, and it took so many layers to get it to stick. So using that damp fabric method works so much better. So you can see how the paper has shrunk back to its original shape. Now, this is one of my favorite tips whenever you're doing something like this, especially on a hard surface like a canvas or on a wood panel. Get a nail file. Good old-fashioned nail file. And sand the edge down and away. Don't saw it back and forth, just down and away. Like that. And just all the way along the edge. Like that. Two things happen. One, you don't get the tear. You don't get the rough edge. And you end up with this very clean, very professional, very neat and tidy edge. The other thing you don't get is these corners curling up. So now that you have that paper on, it is still raw. Remember, you've only got adhesive on one side, so it's still a little raw. So you're going to take a damp brush and you're going to put a light coat over top of everything. Seal everything down all the way around. Just like that. It's a light coat. You don't need to have gobs of it on there. Make sure that you brush it out smoothly and evenly. Just like that. And then you're going to go all the way around the outside edge, like so. Making sure that you get that edge of that fabric or edge of that paper. Lynn Murray, where do we get the paper? I got this one off of Amazon. It is a Tim Holtz paper. If you give me 1 second, I will find the name of it. It's one of my favorites. I'm not even sure if it's still available, but if you're interested in the pattern, we do have a sheet of printed images in there for you. Just a sec. Okay, stars. I have lots. Lots of paper. This one is called... This is what it looks like. It comes in a package like this. It's Tim Holtz Ideology. And let me find the name. It doesn't have an individual name. But the item number is right here. If you've got a pen, it's TH93181 is the item number. This stuff is fantastic. Comes in a roll just like wax paper. I have several of these because this is one of my favorites. I really like this particular one. Another thing that I'm fond of is this. This is washi tape, but it's a 4-inch washi tape. I use those. I have a variety of Tim Holtz papers, some with just the alphabets on them, some with lace, some with bugs, one of my other favorites is one called Entomology. So we have one coat of Demco Matte Medium on there. Hi, Patrick. Thank you. I appreciate that. You give Eddie a hug for me. Yep. So now we're just going to dry this. And one of the things you're going to notice, well, if you're looking for Decor Americana and you're in Canada, don't forget to check out Artist Emporium in Winnipeg. They are fantastic. Hi, Jill. Yes, Denise, exactly. There we go. So I love this background, but we are not done yet. So the original color that I used for the background on this, I used buttermilk. So, or light buttermilk. No, buttermilk. So I'm going to put a little of that on my palette. And I'm going to heavily thin this out. I want what looks like milk. What was that name in Winnipeg? Karen, it's called Artists Emporium. Based in Winnipeg, they're fantastic. If you're looking for supplies, they do ship, so check them out. What we're doing is we're unifying this background. So we're softening the overall pattern back there. We just want to subdue it a little bit. And at the same time, I'm bringing this one and this one into the same tone, if you catch my meaning. So it unifies this background quite nicely. So look at that. So now that background is so pretty. What's for dinner tonight? Tonight we are having baked ziti. I love baked ziti. I always have a little spaghetti sauce left over after we have spaghetti, and I keep it, and then I make baked ziti out of it. So I'll cook up some penne, and I will mix in a little bit of grated Parmesan and a little pesto, and then I mix the sauce with the penne and put that into a baking pan, and then I top it with a little bit of mozzarella and a little provolone and some a little bit of Parmesan Reggiano, and then I bake that until the cheese starts to bubble on the top, and that's dinner. That with a little bit of garlic bread. So there's our background. I love this look. I just think that this gives you so much interesting stuff going on in the background. So we're going to develop this background a little bit with a little bit of asphaltum. You know, my favorite color. What time is dinner? I like adding pesto to my spaghetti sauce for when I'm going to make ziti. Ziti is just, it's yummy. It's comfort food. What did I make? We did fish and chips last night, so I really can't do any more deep fried or baked. So I'm going to be doing the baked ziti. I love baked ziti. Oh, I know, Carol, it's delicious. Baked ziti is yummy. So I'm going to grab my favorite angled shader. I've got a big 1-inch angled shader. We're going to shade the outside edges of this panel with a little bit of asphaltum. Now, I don't use it full strength. I usually blend it out so that it's got lots of water in it. And I go all the way around the outside edge. Again, this does not have to be perfect. You can have areas where it's fairly heavy, areas where it's, you know, perhaps a little worn away. But we're just putting a nice little shadow around the outside edge, like so. You guys know I love my asphaltum. Here we go, one last edge. So it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. We just want to age those edges a little bit. Got your heated blanket, your snacks, and your tea. You're ready to watch. Well, that's a nice thing to say. I'm glad you came in with us. I'm even happier that you've got a nice warm blankie. I have spent a lot of time this week under my warm blankie and a heating pad. I have just been under the weather with a head cold. Nothing worse, just a head cold. And it amazes me how miserable you can feel with something so minor. Just tired, that's all. So I love that little bit of age at the edges, but we're going to make that a bit more extreme. This is one of my favorite things. I love doing this, especially to a mixed media piece. I'm using a stamp pad, and I'm going to rub my edges like so. And then in the corners, I'm going to be a little more generous. Look at that. And then into those corners, look, I get that nice aged look in there. The fun part of doing this is that you can do this. You can come in and cut into the edge a little bit. So the more of the stamp pad surface that you put onto your surface, the more color you're going to get. So if you're at a sharp angle, like so, you get a narrow look. The more pressure and the more sharper the angle, the more color you get. So you can get some really interesting effects just using a stamp pad for this. And I love how it gives you that almost that burnt look, and it doesn't matter what color you use. One of my favorites is this one. This one is a Stays-On stamp pad, which I'm fond of. I really like these ones. And this one is Timber Brown. I use this one a lot because it really looks like asphaltum. So this tends to be the one that I use the most. Do I ever reset my stamp pads with ink? Yes, absolutely. One of the nice things about Stays-On is that they do have ink vials available. And so this one is for jet black. And it is solvent-based ink, so it works very well with a variety of things. And they're very simple to refill. So as it happens, I have a stamp pad that needs a refilling. So this one is a little worse for wear. And I put my ink in the middle and work out like this. So squeeze into the middle and work all the way around like so into the corners. And then come back so that you're filling the areas in between where you started. And that way you get an even amount of ink throughout. It really doesn't take a lot of ink to refill one of these. And one of these will last for months. And I keep one in my bin all the time. And then I cover my stamp pad with this thing. And then I keep it like that, upside down. And then we'll turn it a couple of times. And it eventually goes all the way through it. And then it's ready to use in a day. So very handy idea to keep. If you have a particular favorite, like for me, I love my Timber Brown and I love my Jet Black. I'm not one of those designers that carries, 400 colors of these. So I use this timber brown or the jet black, and I will order my refills via Amazon. And there's other places you can get them as well, but Amazon is a good source. Buy those. I usually only end up refilling these about once a year, but this one was really starting to get dry. But and this one I refilled not too long ago. So timber brown and jet black, those are my two favorites. And look at this. Look at this neat effect. I just love how that looks. StazOn stamps, they will last you quite a while. And they are not all that easy to find anymore, but I do find that you can get the jet black and the brown fairly easy. And they're reasonable. And you can, I think I paid $10 for these. I think they were about $10, but I can refill my stamps several times on one little bottle. They're fantastic. Hi, Charlene. Where am I in Canada, and do I ever do classes in person? I have done, yes. I travel inside Canada. I'm not traveling to the U.S. right now. It's just a little too much. I wish I could travel to the U.S. I do travel in Canada as long as I don't have to go too far. And but I'm in New Brunswick. I love it out here. We're thinking about doing a workshop out here, so. But fun background. So I'm going to make sure that my ink is dry. You can see my hands are stained. They're not bruised, they're stained. I was having trouble with my printer today. And I refilled the black ink. Well, I managed to get it everywhere. This is a fun little piece to paint. It is not rocket science, this one, but it's lots of little layers. So look at that. Awesome sauce. So I'm going to leave this nice, right. If you find that it's too bright for you, you can actually tone this with a wash of heavily thinned asphaltum. Does the stamp pad create a problem when varnishing a completed piece? I've never had an issue. That's one nice thing about that StazOn. It's also one of the reasons I use it. It's a solvent base. So once it's completely dry, you can put anything over top of it. Isn't bothered by anything. And I seal all of my pieces with a light coat of matte spray. And then that way I don't have to... Deborah Schwartz. Thank you, sweetie. Pine Grove, Nova Scotia, my south... Deb Schwartz and I go back even further than Karen Jones and I. Deb Schwartz and I have been friends since childhood. We go back a very long way. 60 years. So... yeah. Yes, Donna Paltz. Yes, excellent. I am teaching with the Tidewater. I'm doing a 2-day Zoom seminar, March 20th and 21st. Donna has put the link up there if you want to have a look. We are painting 2 really nice pieces, one mixed media and one is a beach themed or sea themed piece. So yeah, you want to come and paint, come and join me. I wonder if you could use the StazOn ink in a fountain pen. It's thicker and it is solvent based. So once it's exposed to air, it starts to dry. It would probably clog up your pen. If you're using a fountain pen, my favorites, I always prefer to use either an India ink or an acrylic ink. I love those too. Kindergarten plague. Thank you, Kelly. Where do I get in Canada? There's two really good suppliers. One is Stockade. based in Ontario. Stockade.ca is a really great source, or you can go to country underscore bear underscore wood.com. They're also based in Southern Ontario, and they're a deco art distributor as well. So you can go there. Another excellent source in Winnipeg, and that's Artist Emporium, and they're fantastic, based out of Winnipeg. And if you're in Alberta, Karen, can you pop up the link for my brain just shut off. I had it on the tip of my tongue. She knows the one I mean. Oh my God, I can't remember it. That's terrible. Artist Emporium. Thank you, Sandy. Our sweet Sandy is finally feeling better. Just in time for me to get sick and lose my voice again. Sandy McTeer, artistemporium.net. Fantastic company. Absolutely fantastic. Karen Jones. What the heck is the name of that? Oh my gosh. I swear to God, some days I'm brain dead. Hi, Brenda. Oh. That's terrible. We have so many suppliers in Canada, and of course, the one that I have been shopping at, I can't remember the name of. Delta Art. Thank you. My brain is just not going there today. Hi, Vera. Boys, everybody's here today. So we're going to transfer this design onto our surface. And I'm going to tape it down in two places so that it doesn't move, because this drives me bananas when it moves. Senior moment, right? That's a really good. And I think it was more than a senior moment. I think that I blew a fuse, personally. Is that what it is? It's called Sometimers? Yep. I'm with you. Sometimes. I'm really glad our Sandy is feeling better. The other nice thing about pears is they're pretty easy to trace. This is not a super difficult piece. I just realized I put white graphite under here. Knucklehead. Some days the elevator doesn't go to the top floor. I don't know if I'll be able to see this, but we'll see. Yep. We all have them. I just usually say my brain shut off. Is that what it is? The head cold? Yeah. It's funny. When I got up Tuesday morning, I was absolutely exhausted, and yet I had slept the whole night, but I was just so tired, and I thought, oh, I'll feel better by supper time. And I sat down in the chair while my husband took Renee to work, and I figured, oh, I'll be fine. I fell asleep sitting up. Oh, I can't see that. Even on a good day, I couldn't see that. I'm going to grab some darker graphite, honestly. Oh, look. Wonder where my dark graphite was. The leaf is interesting. I think you should always have an interesting turn instead of just a flat leaf. Okay, let's try this the right way. The other thing I have been trying to do is to, keep things simple and take a little joy in just the process instead of worrying too much about all the minutiae. So I'm excited about next week's piece because we're doing a Valentine project. And I think it's really cute. And it's a fun piece, and it's got, a lot of things going for it. But I wanted to include some really fun techniques. There we go. All right. Let's stick that over there. Oh, I'm so glad Sandy's up and at him. Now, if you're looking for any of the brushes that I use, like my Fugly brush, my riggers, Sandy maintains those on her website, so you can always get them there. And you can also find them on thebrushguys.com if you're looking for them. So we have pear shapes. And the first thing that we're going to do is establish our shadows. So I'm going to take, I need a nice round brush. So we got a nice round brush. And a little bit, I've got some Jo Sonja Fast Dry Glaze. I love my Fast Dry. And we're going to thin out a little bit of asphaltum. We're going to create just a nice little wash of asphaltum with that glaze. Nice and thin. And we're going to establish those shadows right here. And I want them really watery. So, just like that. So we've got a shadow that goes along here, and it comes up over here. So it's just a little shadow, just like that. And then we're going to take that same mixture and we're going to define that pear along here. And it's a rather sloppy application of color, just like that. So we've got a nice little shadow on this side. It's not too dark. Oh, Linda Morgan, you got your happy mail? Will there be companion pieces for this? Yes, absolutely. I love pieces like this because you can incorporate a variety of things. I have a number of fruit and vegetable pieces coming up in the next few months. I'm working on olive oil right now, which I love olives. There's something about the shape of them that just appeals to me, but I wanted it to have sort of old world feel to it and perhaps a little vintage feel. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on the the Valentine's piece for next week. We're going to be using a lot of pink. I mean, a lot of pink. Apples and grapes would be nice. Yes, I love grapes. I've got several pieces sitting there waiting for me to finalize them. Blueberries, strawberries, cherries, apples, lemons, and olives. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to dry that. And then we're going to put a nice little base. I just want to give us a nice little base in here. Oh, excellent, Judy. I'm glad you got it. Strawberries, yes. Yep, things are being very slow, but they're gradually getting out. What happens on our end is anytime there's a backup at customs, at the border, anything, especially anything going to the U.S., if there's any kind of a backup there, the shippers on our end don't do pickups because they're trying to wait till the backlog clears. So we have long delays between days that we can ship. Sometimes it takes a week for us to get a pickup. So we get things packaged as quickly as we can, and then we wait for them to, to unload their shipping issues. So once we get the go ahead, and then everything goes out the door. So, I mean, the shipping issues have been ridiculous. So, but we are still shipping. So we have a little bit of warm white. Now, you could use the buttermilk from your background if you want to. I'm going to use a little warm white because it's going to stand up on the show on the camera a little bit better. So you're just going to put a wash of this thinned color on here, just so that it interrupts that background a little. That's all. I don't want to bury it because I kind of want to see little bits of it, if you know what I mean. I'm a big fan. I love mixed media done this way. Lots and lots. The nice part is because it's not a fully opaque application, you can still see your lines. Your line drawing is still quite clear. Oh my goodness. There are things coming from overseas, things coming from the US and going to the US. Everything is very, very slow. And lots of issues. And a lot of it is quite simply things getting stuck in backlogs, things getting stuck at customs, things getting, not being picked up, things. I've been waiting for a shipment that, get this, shipped today. It was shipped, supposed to be delivered within 2 days. I knew it wouldn't be in 2 days, but I figured 3. We're now going on 9, and it's not here yet, and it won't be here till Tuesday. So between bad weather and all of the other shipping issues, it's just been, your patience is tested. That's how I look at it. So when it gets out of here, it gets out of here. So I've got this. I'm going to dry that. I like having that white base. It allows us to put lots of color on top of it, and it keeps all of that background from interfering with it. Now, I'm going to be using Deckmart's fluid acrylics for this. I love the fluid acrylics for mixed media for a couple of reasons. One, the pigment load, lots and lots of color. Linda, yes, I did get your message. I did send a reply back. I don't know if you got it or not, but I did send a reply back. And it was a simple one. If you wanted a refund, I'd be happy to do that. Or we can send you out a new one. It's not a problem. Either way, whichever one you want. It happens. And we may have been out of them at the time, so... And we're supposed to either refund you or put it on back order, but I didn't check to see if we refunded it, but whatever. Either way. Wow. That's crazy, Karen. So the color that I'm using, I love this. I'm going to use a little bit of diarrhea yellow. This is just such a wicked intense yellow. And I'm going to take a little warm white and I'm going to add a touch of that diarrhea to that yellow. I don't know if you can see this. Here, I'll move that up a bit. So I end up with a color that looks like Sunny Day. So I'm just mixing a nice bright sunny yellow. And again, I'm just filling the space. But if you are if you don't have the fluid acrylics, you can use saffron yellow if you don't have diarylide. And for this part, if you don't have any of these yellow, the fluid acrylics, you can use Americana and just fill that in with a little bit of Sunny Day. I love the fluid acrylics because of that pigment load, and it makes it really easy to mix color. So I have a gorgeous sunny yellow, and I'm just filling in my pears. And again, it's heavily thinned. I'm not using a ton of color because you can still see that all of that lettering and everything right through it. You can still see all of my stamping. There. And it's kind of just a slip slap application. I'm not really worrying about it. Yes, absolutely, Linda. Be happy to do that. There we go. Like, how easy is that? So there is our base color. And now we're going to use that same color, that diarylide yellow. We're going to pick up a little bit on a wet brush. Now, it does look like it, but it's a bit, it is a very bright yellow. Yeah, but it does look like saffron. So I'm using that straight diarylide, and I'm going to put... See how I'm laying the whole brush on the surface like that? So kind of afloat. I mean, you could do this with an angle, but I'm just going to do it with round. So I'm going to put a little diarylide there. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Look at this. So we have a shadow that runs right here. And we're going to come across like so. What was that, Letitia? I thought you said diarrhea. I could see that. I could see that. So essentially, we're just shaping these pears at this point. Look at, I mean, that is a vibrant yellow, yeah? This is an in-your-face yellow. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to bring that yellow up here because this is where we're going to have a large amount of color right there. Look at that. Very bright. This is an in-your-face yellow. Now, on the neck, we're going to call this the neck of the pear, this portion here. We need it to sort of come in a little. So I'm going to bring a little of that in like so. See how it creates sort of a bulge in there? This is a number 5 round, Charmaine. Hi, Patty. It's diarylide yellow. Perhaps my pronunciation wasn't as good as it should have been. So there's that diarylide yellow. That is a major in-your-face yellow. And now I'm going to take a little bit of, this is quinacridone magenta. You can use primary magenta, but we're only using a dot of it. Like that. Like very teeny tiny. Because we're going to add that diarylide yellow to it to make a very deep orange. Like an in-your-face orange. And we're going to bring that color in right here. This is what I call the blush. We're going to use just a little of that orange right here. this is a blush of color. And we're going to have a little bit here too. And by using the edge of the brush, laying the brush down, it gives us the chance to almost float with it, if you know what I mean. Now, right here there's a little dimple in the bottom of the pear. And we have one here as well. And we're going to bring that orange over here. Don't forget that little indentation there. Little bit there. And we're going to bring some in here as well. Into this shaded area on the above the waist. There we go. Now remember, we have that indentation there. We're going to do the same thing on this side, but it's a little bit smaller. Just a little triangle shape. I'm going to do a little bit there. I absolutely love these fluid acrylics. If you're looking for them, I believe Sandy still has some. I think. I shouldn't have messed with that because now I've got a bald spot. There we go. Look at that. There we are. I love a little bit of orange in a pear because it gives you that blush on the belly. Hi, Patrick. Yes, it is. I hate to say it, but we're at like minus 32 here today. Thereabouts. Let me see. I know it had hit minus 30 earlier, but it's supposed to get colder. Oh, actually it warmed up just a touch. It warmed up a touch. It's minus 27. And but with the wind chill, it's cold. It's very cold. And we have a major snowstorm tracking through. They had initially said we were going to get about 15 centimeters, but I think we're up to 30 now. Yeah. Yeah, it's cold. Renee and I went down to the mailbox. He was taking Mesa for a walk, and I went down to pick up a parcel. And it wasn't too bad going down because I had the wind at my back, but coming back up, it was bitter. By the time I got back to the house, my cheeks felt. Yeah, I have my storm chips. Yeah, my cheeks felt really very frozen. It was very cold. So I've got a little bit of asphaltum here. And I'm going to put a thin amount on my stem here, on this one, and here. Just like that. And I'm going to leave the pears for a moment, and I'm going to come up to the leaf. And I'm going to put just a quick coat of thinned warm white onto the leaf, like so. Oh no, you guys are getting the ice. We're getting snow. They have changed ours from, we were at a yellow. Does Maze wear booties? No, she doesn't. Not a big fan of cold. She likes cool, but not cold. And it is very cold here today. So her walk was somewhat abbreviated today. Yeah, we're looking at 20 to 30 centimeters now. So about 15 inches, 10 to 15 inches. Yep. Oh, excellent. I'm so glad you guys are finally getting your 12 days things. Are finally making it there. We have the rest of them waiting for pickup. So, and there's only 3 left, sorry. And then we have the 3 art pieces that have to go out too. But again, we're waiting for them to do pickups. It's slow. So now that is dry, I love this color. This is green gold. You can use margarita if you don't have green gold. I love this green. And the reason I love it is because it, again, high pigmentation load, but also the colors are quite transparent, and that works for us in a great many ways. So I'm going to use my round brush, and I'm going to put a wash of that green gold over the whole leaf. Don't worry about, flip overs or anything just yet, because it's not really that important yet. So there we go. We've got green gold. And then we're also going to take that green gold and we're going to put a coat of that onto our stems. I like to have that little bit of green gold over the asphaltum. It just, I don't know, it just works. You see a giraffe on my palette? So do I, right there. Ta-da! 2 leaves. Yeah. Upside down, but it's there. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh, we've got snow. Not a lot of it yet, but we've got snow. So we've got lovely, lovely leaves. I'm going to use a little bit of sap green. I love sap green. It's like a combination of black green and plantation pine. It's just such a great color. And I'm going to use a little of that. Again, I'm just using the round brush. If you're more comfortable using an angle, go right ahead. I am just being lazy today and using a round brush. So I'm putting a shadow underneath that little flip over. And then I'm going to put one down the center vein of this leaf. Right there. Ta-da! I love it. Fluid acrylics are so forgiving. You can do all sorts of fun stuff with them. And they're very transparent. Six inches of snow. Huh. Well, we were only going to get, 5 to 10. Then it was, maybe 15. But now they're talking that we could see quite a bit more of that. We went from green to red. It's going to be a long duration snow event. Slow moving. Yeah, we're looking at 15 to 30 centimeters, it says here. And then locally higher near the bay. Monday and Tuesday is going to be the peak impact. Oh, that's a lot of snow. But it's the winds that are going to be the problem for us. Something funny about snow. When we have an inch, all of France is paralyzed. It's no surprise you're laughing at us. When you have Liza and a lot of snow. We're just used to it. I think that's it. Especially here on the East Coast, we're used to getting a lot of snow. And for the last 5 years, we've actually not had that much snow. We've only had a couple of feet all winter, which is nothing for us. Linda Martin, you missed the beginning of my Masonite. I'm just using a little piece of MDF. You can use watercolor paper. You could use bristleboard. You could use cardboard if you wanted to, or canvas. The original piece is done on canvas. I just think it's a fun little piece of art. Looks really cute with its own little, I have a little wrought iron stand for it. It's a really cute little piece. So this is dry. I might use an angled shader for the next bit. Maybe. But I love this bit. So we have, you notice that I've left some open areas. One of the reasons for that is this. I'm going to fill that. I want to create 2 highlight areas, one here and one here. So I'm going to take a little bit of warm white and I'm going to mix that with a little bit of that diarrhea yellow. I want that, oops, not enough white. There, that's better. So I've got a wet surface and I want 2 little highlight spots right there and there. And each of those areas is going to get a little smaller. I'm using my fingers to blend. I'm a born blender. So our light impact point on this forward pear is right about there. And then there's another one here, because remember, there's a curve in that pear. On the larger one, the light impact point is up here and here. So I'm just using my finger to blend that out. I'm just using my fingers because I want to soften that border a little bit. And it's the same here. So just, pat down some color and then blend it out. You can use a blender, you could use your fingertips, you can use whatever you have on hand, whatever you're comfortable using. But we want to create sort of a soft transition of color. And I love using some of these more opaque yellows to soften these boundaries between color. So this one got a little out of hand here. Soften, soften, soften. I want to soften this a bit. I love it when you get to play and just pat paint into places. Love it, love it, love it. See how it softens that?
How are the humble pears?
The humble pears are doing well. So eventually you're going to end up with a smaller highlight and it gets a little bit brighter each time you put it on. So less yellow, more white. And it doesn't have to be, I know you get tired of hearing me say it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If everything was perfect, it would get boring really quick. So now it's time to start building a shadow on these pears. And I'm going to grab a little asphaltum and I'm going to put a nice little wash of color up against this little pear, this forward pear. With a little bit of asphaltum. And that's what's going to separate these two pears. Right there. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Now it's heavily thinned. We don't want this to be super dark. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the forward pear. I want this one I love pears. They're a bit of a challenge because of those unique shapes. I know there's no two pears that are shaped exactly the same way. And there's a little dimple right here in our little pear. So essentially, we're just going to go around and deepen shadows. Doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be perfect. But what I love about this is that you can putz with it. And I love to putz. I love the putzing part. So, nice little shadow here. Don't forget those little dimples where things, go in. Now this pear is going to have a slightly darker shadow here because this pear is blocking the light from that to that one. So a little darker. It's coming. So I'm going to dry this. And then I'm going to grab a stencil brush. I'm going to show you a fun way to highlight, to really make these highlights. That first batch that we did just positioned the highlights where we want them. So this part is where we're going to actually add the highlights. So I'm grabbing a stencil brush. Ta-da! And I'm going to pick up a little bit of warm white. Swirl it well on your stencil brush, and then we're going to soften those areas right here and here. The nice part is that by using a stencil brush, it softens the other colors as well. So start in the center and come out. Look at that. Love it. Stencil brushes make great dry brushes. Whew. Oh, she scares the living daylights out of Maze because she has a tendency to spit at him. It's not just this thing. She and then jumps at him. But this afternoon, that was the first day. Second day, she's a little bit better. Yesterday, she didn't get upset at all with the dog. And then this morning, she's following Gizmo around the house like they're joined at the hip. So, and Gizmo was, very grumpy. But she's just so stinking cute. So you can see our pear is starting to take a bit more shape because of that little bit of asphaltum. Seeing those, deepening those shadows. Again, they don't need to be absolutely perfect. Carolyn, I'm with you. I love pears. And I got to tell you, one of the best things ever. Take a very thin slice of Parmesan. Very thin. Like shave it. Sprinkle it onto a piece of parchment paper. 2 pieces. Take a nice big pear. Slice it down the middle. Take the core out of the center. And then lay the pear face down onto the Parmesan. And then bake the pear about 375, 400 degrees. Bake it until that cheese starts to get brown and crispy and the pear starts to look soft. And then, oh, delicious. That salt, that punch of the cheese with that sweet pear. So good. So, so good. So looking pretty good. Now I'm going to come up to that leaf. I'm going to take a little more of that, just a thin bit of that sap green. We're going to deepen that shadow underneath, deepen the shadow at the top. But watch this. I'm going to take a little bit of that color and just pull it like that. So it creates a simple line. Roquefort blue cheese. Oh, yes. You need a nice, something with a lot of salt and a sharp flavor. I like a really good hard Parmesan, but blue cheese would do it for me too. Oh, okay, Linda, I will do that. Absolutely. We have the menu board, or not the menu boards, the breadboards are back in. I'm expecting them Tuesday, so we did update the website already. We have the ornament ovals in, we have snowmen in, we have a variety of surfaces in. So we got them all in, and we still have a bunch of stuff that's on clearance, and I'll be adding more on Monday as well. So our pears are really starting to take shape. So I'm going to come in with almost pure white at this point. And it's going to be a light impact point right there. And it's nothing fancy. It's just a little slip slap of bright white. Look at that. So those are our light impact points on our pears. But we are not done with these yet. So I'm going to, oh goodness, I'm going to take a little bit more. I want more orange in my pears. Amarillo, Texas feels like -10. Rory, can I tell you something? We're at -30. Just saying. So I've got a little bit of that orange. That's just the quinacridone magenta. And a little bit of that diarrhea yellow. I want to bring in a little more red. I love the red in the pears. And I just think it really adds to the look of these pears when it has a bit more red. So I'm going to bring just a little bit in, right about here. As I said, it does not have to be perfect. It can just be, little bits, punches of color. It doesn't have to be a lot. So there we are. Got a little bit more red in my pears. I'm liking that. I love. And I really want a lot more darker brown in here. So I'm going to bring in a bunch more asphaltum right here. I really like the darker color, and you can be very aggressive with it. You do not have to be too careful. I like that darker shadow. And I'm going to bring a bit more down here, and I'm going to deepen the one underneath our pears right here, because, why not? So I'm liking it. Is that -3 Celsius or Fahrenheit? -3 is still free and cold if it's Fahrenheit. Especially when you're not used to it. So I'm really liking this, but it needs something. So I'm going to grab one of my Stays On stamps. Oops, that's the one I just reloaded. So there's my brown. And I'm going to grab my Stays On stamp, or my stamp. This one is just a little script. I don't want this perfect, but I'm going to put a little bit of script on top of my pear, like this. If it goes onto the background, that's okay. But I just wanted a little bit to break up the perfection of this pear. Do you see? It's imperfect. It's not solid. It's not legible, but it's there. It's just a little texture across the pear, like that. And you can put on as much or as little as you want. That's entirely up to you. But I like that it breaks up the surface a little bit, you know? Just adds a little texture. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to spatter this. I love this part. I absolutely love this part because we're going to take asphaltum and I'm putting it on my fugly brush. Right? Lots of it. And I'm going to use Sandy's technique for this. Oops. So I'm going to get some big drops of color and then I'm going to spatter it my way so I get some small spatter. But I'm using quite a bit of it because I like it. I love that it adds all kinds of fun things to this. Look at that. See, I like that. I'll show you something else. So anytime you have a big dollop of spatter like that, tap your surface and you'll get these droplets. So when you tap the surface, they turn into little running drops, which I really like. So I'm going to dry this and then we're going to spatter it again, but with a little bit of black. Because these become quite transparent as they're drying. I love them. They almost look like spilled coffee, which appeals to me. You want to put a circle of gold leaf on a wooden jar lid. I'm not very good at squeezing glue out of the tube. Can I use a brush to spread the leaf glue? Absolutely, Linda. Absolutely. And I'll give you a little tip. Cover the whole top of the surface with painter's tape and then cut out your circle that you want, that little band, measure it, cut it out of the tape, pull away the tape that you just cut, leave the rest of it there, and just brush on your adhesive. Give it a chance to set for a minute and then take all the tape off. It will leave a nice crisp circle on your surface. It's a simple technique, works really, really well. Okay, so we've got our asphaltum done. I'm going to get out a little bit of lamp black. I don't need a lot, but I'm incapable of putting out just a little. So I'm going to use a little bit of water and thin out a little bit of lamp black, because I like lamp black. And I'm just going to lightly spatter this with a little black. I find the black stands out a little bit better, and it gives this background a really nice worn look. I love that. So look at that. So I'm going to dry that again. I love this look. I just think it's so much fun. Looks like the start of over ripening. I agree, it does. And you know what? Whenever you're doing something like this, use your fingers. Well, Judy, you haven't lived until it's been so cold that when you wake up in the morning, there is ice on the doorknob on the inside of your house. Then you know it's cold. I was in Winnipeg at the time, and we actually saw temperatures of -70 with the wind chill. It was freaking cold. -50 and then -70 with the wind chill. It was brutal. So once this is completely dry, this is the fun part for me. I love doing this. Oh, is it really? Wish her a happy birthday for me, Carol. This is where I go around and I put my sketchy outline with curly cues and little details and things like that. I love this part. I get to do it. So it does not have to be perfect. I like the squiggly lines. I like the irregular lines. One of the fun things, I was taught this in art school when we were first taught to draw. I'll find my pear line drawing for you. When I did my original sketch for these pears, this is the technique that I used to do the sketch. So everything had these really rough lines. I wanted a specific shape type thing, and it was very angular. Nothing about it was soft. There was lots of sharp edges and lots of things. And then when you gradually start erasing them and putting in and smoothing out and building your shape, all of these lines get erased. It's always kind of fun to go back in and put them back in, but using a slightly different approach. And I'm kind of using like a minimalist version of that when I'm going around the outside of my pears. This is a 0.38 black gel pen. This is a Japanese one. This is the Uniball one. They're both from Japan. They both have the same type of ink. They're both excellent, and they're both made by the same company. They're made by Uniball. And I love them. But this one is a little sharp for what I'm doing. So you can use them this way. If you don't have one of these, you can go into one of your microns or into one of your Tombow gel pens, into one of your Tombow pens. And so you're not relegated to just using what I use. So if you have a set of microns work just fine for this. I'm a big fan of my microns. I have a couple of sets of them. And like I said, your lines can be thick, they can be thin, they can be teeny tiny, they can be smooth, they can be rough, whatever you want. I'm a fan. But I don't put that, I don't like the thick hard line. I want a fine line around it. And it doesn't have to be right up against the edge. It can be away from the edge if you want. And you can add details in here if you want to. Add some lines to enhance that shadow of the pears. And there's a shadow here. You can use some lines to enhance it. And then come up to your leaf. I love this part. This for me is just, this is cathartic and this is fun. You can really create something interesting with this. So as you can see, so as I said, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So look how fun. These pears really start to look good. Although when you first start doing it, you think, ugh, this isn't working the way I wanted it to. And you can add more details in those shadows. Oh my goodness, I can't even speak today. Come in here, deepen some things. Have a little fun with it. So look how fun that is. So if there's areas in your piece that you really want to accentuate, you can do this. Don't forget, you can use this pen to increase your shading. You can use your ballpoint pen, you can use a Sharpie, you can use whatever you have on hand, quite honestly. So brown ink pens, actually, Uniball does make them. So does Posca. Posca makes a really nice brown pen. And if you look into Tombow, you can probably get them in brown there too. I love Tombow. Tombow is a fantastic company. I love their product line. I use their drawing pens a lot. I'm a big fan. And as I said, I don't necessarily want these lines to be perfect. I kind of like the idea that, there's areas of this that are not perfectly smooth, or I like the texture it creates. So there we are. Now we still have a couple of things to do. Now I'm going to grab, I know I've got some minis here somewhere. Here we go. Now, as far as this background goes, you could use whatever you want. I've used, as I said, I used this waffle stencil for the other one. And it works very, very well. Creates that light texture in there. Super. This one here is a mono drawing pen. I love these. And I also use, if you don't have the Uniball Signo, which is this 0.38 black gel pen, or this one, which is also from Uniball, but slightly different. Oh, Denise, you can fiddle with this till the cows come home. I mean, there's so many options when it comes to doing this. It depends on you. Like, I liked this on the diagonal. I thought it was nice and loose and open. It added a little bit of pattern and a little bit of light color back there. It works really well. The original, I used this Harlequin stencil back here. And again, it works really well. You could use a honeycomb. I mean, you could use whatever your little heart desires. If you want to put a knit stencil back there, a little bit of knit pattern, go ahead. Polka dots, whatever blows your hair back, quite honestly. I'm just having a peek, see what I got. I've got a honeycomb. Oh, see, honeycomb. Let's try honeycomb. I like it. Now, the idea being is that you're just creating something to lighten the background a little, to bring the design forward. So I'm going to use a stencil brush and a very small amount of warm white paint. The key here is not to get it too opaque. That's the trick. The other key is to take this design off the surface a bit. Just a bit. Doesn't need to be too much. And the other thing is, don't worry about making sure that the design is complete. It doesn't have to be. Now I'm using a part of the stencil so that you see how it just sort of breaks that up a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. But again, I'm not worrying about it being fully opaque. I don't want it to be. Now you could use any color you wanted, really, but I like the white just because it lightens this value back here a little bit and because it softens things a little bit. So I love that juxtaposition of pattern. It doesn't really have anything to do with the pears. I think a lot of the time we're looking for structure, we're looking for a specific pattern because it ties to the overall design in theme. Well, you don't necessarily have to do that. In this particular case, I only wanted it to break up and create a pathway. So when I use the stencil in opposite corners, it does two things. It draws the eye from one side to the other, and there's continuity because the same pattern is repeated. So it gives that whole thing a softer and lighter feel. So the next step, because we've gone over that border a little bit, just a little bit, I'm going to hide it a little bit. So I'm going to make it part of that background and a little less obvious. So now we have some continuity. And I really like that element. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about mixed media is being able to bring in such a huge variety of things to it. Now, whether that's gold, whether that's another metallic or another material altogether, you could add a wax seal to this if you wanted to, using a metallic. One of my favorite things to do is to bring in a metallic over top at the very end, and that can be a small stencil, it can be a large stencil, it can be a little pattern or a big one. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. In this particular case, I used a cancellation stamp, just again for sort of carry the theme, and I used it over top of the pears. So it's not an obvious design element, but it's a little flash of metallic when you move the surface. And I find that that has a lot of appeal. It's sort of like a nice little surprise. So I'm going to use a little bit of Decor Extreme Sheen 24 karat gold. And I have a little mini brayer, so I'm going to roll this color out a little on my surface. And then I'm going to scare up one of my favorite stamps, because I love my cancellation stamps. So I know I have one in here. I have several in here. This is a fun one. This is a little tiny one. Oh, that's another one, the same. Okay. I wanted something a little bigger. Ah, there it is. I knew I had it here somewhere. So this is a slightly larger one. I'm just going to press it into the gold paint. And then I'm going to overlap the image. Comme ça. Load it up with paint. And I like overlapping the image because look where the gold gives you that nice little flash, right? And I'll put it down in the corner here. I love how it just gives you that little bit of bling on the image. Now I'm going to dry that, and then we're going to stamp this one more time. Just want to make sure this metallic is dry before I do this next bit. Because it's me and I'll smear it. Because that's just how I am. Now I used a black pen, but you could use anything. You could use white. If your background is a little dark, you could use a white. There's all kinds of fun things you can do to this. So, okay, I think that's dry enough. I'm going to grab a stamp head, and I'm using a lettering set that I have. These ones are from Recollections, and they are a 1/2 inch. The letter size is 1/2 inch. Would a small crackle varnish, like an old oil painting, be okay? Oh, absolutely, Patrick. I think it would be fantastic. So I've got a stamp pad. Now, I'm okay with the letters going wonky. Not everybody is. Some people like things nice and straight. I kind of like the wonky, but that's me. But if you don't like wonky, I'm going to show you something really, really slick. And I do this a lot when I want something perfectly straight. Take your stamps, line them all up so that your letters are all the way you need them. Okay? Just like so. And then put a little piece of painter's tape around them, holds them in place so that you can put them all level. It's fast and easy. Works really well for short words, not so much for big ones unless you've got extra stamps. But this one works really well. I used this on a project a couple of weeks ago. This was Fine Joy, and it just made it simpler to keep it all together like that, and it worked really well. So if you like things to be more straight, then if you can't live with wonky, I can live with wonky. I like wonky for some of this stuff, but if you don't, try the tape method. It works really well. So I'm going to use my newly refreshed stamp pad, sorry. And I'm going to write the word pears across my pears. And I'm going by guess or by God here. They're not, certainly not going to be perfect. You watch, I'll get it right the first time and everything will be nice and straight. Nope. Okay. Saved by the Bell. There. So we have pears. I love that. I like the wonky. Wonky works for me. Doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. So there we have a wonky. Now, you can, like my pear, my letter here did not come out very clean. It was kind of, didn't quite get enough ink on the stamp, but there we are. Now, the lettering is kind of hidden. It doesn't really stand out a bit there. So you're going to take a white gel pen. Yep, the R fell over the edge. And then you can highlight the left side of each letter with the white gel pen. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is, remember that A that you just couldn't see very well? Just do the inside of the A. Now, our light source is coming from this direction. That's why I chose the that side to do the white. But there we are. So, now, one of my favorite things, I love wax stamps. I absolutely love wax stamps. It all falls into this same thing. You know, these cancellation stamps and wax seals and things like that. I really love having things like that, and it's a fun one. This is a fun project to add one to. So you could bring in whatever shape you wanted, really, whatever size or type you wanted. If you wanted to expand on that gold thing, you could take a little piece of string, little piece of jute, and hold it in place with a wax seal, and it could have a butterfly or a bee or even just a monogram. But something simple like that, this is such a fun and easy project to do. And look at that. I mean, none of them look exactly the same, and yet they're all the same. But they're successful regardless of what type of stencil design you use in the background. If your background is super light and you want to get more pattern in there, use a darker color. You could bring in a little bit of brown or a little bit of gold back there. There's so many ways to really impact this type of project. It's super easy to do. Just play with the color. So have some fun with this. I really enjoy doing this type of mixed media. It makes really cute, simple little pieces of artwork. You can scatter them around the house. They can sit on a windowsill. They can sit on a shelf in the bathroom, or in the kitchen, or wherever you are. These are just fun and colorful little pieces of art. Yes, Linnell, it is. And you can do so many fun things with it. They make great little gifts. They're just fun. And they all look so pretty regardless of what type of surface you put them on. So you can do them on canvas, like this one. This is on an art panel. And this one is just on a little piece of what we call media board or a little piece of MDF. So it's functional on a variety of surfaces, and it looks fantastic in a journal as well. So have a little bit of fun with it. So we're just waiting for Renee to come back. He's going to come down and get our wheel ready, I think. I don't know if he's paying attention to the feed or not, but he'll be there shortly. And while we're waiting, I'm going to show you something, because I can. I'm a huge fan of wax seals, and these are a really easy way to embellish something, and surprisingly inexpensive. I've found that if you find them in places like Michael's and other locations like that, general craft stores, they tend to be a little on the pricey side. But there's so many other options. One of the best places, surprisingly enough, Amazon has a great selection of these. So these are wax beads, And what you do is you choose 3 or 4 in whatever color you want. Obviously, you can tell I like the gold ones because that one's getting a little low. You choose 3 or 4 of these and you melt them. And then it's in a little tiny spoon. You can pour that onto your surface. And then you can choose whatever design head you want. And I have a large selection of them. Some are just elegant patterns. Some are specific to a season or an event. I have my monogram. There's roses. And I have a skull. I know that surprises everybody. But the nice part is that they're interchangeable. You don't need to have all, a dozen of these. They just simply unscrew. And then you can take your new one and attach it to the handle like so. This one is just an elegant little design. And then you'd pour your wax onto the surface and then just gently press the stamp into that little puddle of wax. Once the wax begins to cool, you can just tilt the press off like that, and it'll leave a raised image in the wax. So it's a fun little way to embellish artwork. It's a fun way to seal Christmas cards and birthday cards and things like that. And they're relatively inexpensive. You can find these, as I said, on Amazon. Sometimes you can get 2 or 3 of these heads with one handle. And you can get some wax beads. And this is the little spoon. You'd put your beads into that, light the candle underneath it. It melts the wax. You can pour it onto the surface and stamp it with your seal. So super easy system to work with and not horribly expensive. And it easily adds to any kind of mixed media project that you're doing. How do you melt the wax? You use the tea light. Not a dumb question. You use the tea light and the little spoon rests on top of the tea light. It has a little holder. And then it melts the wax. And that's just one way. You can also use the stick wax, which kind of looks like a candle, and you light the wick and it melts the wax and you can just drip it on. So there's a variety of ways to use it, but a fun way to embellish on things. Well, you know what? I mean, I made a suggestion, and then I thought I'd better clarify it that you could,
You show us that sometime.
I can absolutely show you that sometime. I love working with wax seals. I just don't have a lighter down here, or I'd show you now.
Are you done?
I'm done.
You ready to spin wheels?
Done. Yes, I am.
Your little one's been sleeping all afternoon.
Oh, good. That means she'll terrorize all afternoon and all night. Stick wax is great. Thank you, Carol. That's very sweet. Ooh, there is 180 names on that wheel. That's lots.
Is beaucoup.
That's beaucoup. Beaucoup names.
What's on the prize list?
Right there. So we have a kit for a Valentine's project.
Happy mail?
Happy mail.
It says happy mail. It's pink.
Of course it is. It's a Valentine's project. So we have a great little surface in there. It's an arch plaque and a pattern for a Valentine's project. Plus there's the stencil that you need to do it. And there's some brushes from Dynasty Brush in there. And of course there's always some goodies in there from us. And you're being told to pick Judy Thacker. Her birthday is next Friday.
No promises. Are you ready to spin?
Uh-huh. I'm waiting. Bet DeLong is our winner.
bit along. There's one. Ooh.
Oh, goodness.
Got another one?
Yep.
Pet your dogs and kitties.
Ellie Specter Hackett. That's a new name. Ellie Hackett.
My Sharpie dog.
Just to remind you guys that if your name is drawn on the wheel on a Saturday, hop over to the website at tracymoreau.net or tracycreates.net and send us your shipping information, please, so we can get it out to you as soon as possible.
Oh, Ellie Specter. And I have to switch Sharpies again.
You're killing my Sharpies.
I'm not killing them.
I had way too much fun with this piece today.
Oh, did you?
Oh, of course. And the last one is going to Lori Fuller.
There we go. Lori Fuller.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's it for us today. I hope you guys enjoyed this piece as much as I did. Obviously, I enjoy it because I've painted it about 5 times now. I never get tired of doing this. So this one is a lot of fun. It's not difficult to paint. We've included some of the transfer paper, not the transfer paper, the decoupage paper in the pattern. Just a reminder, print it on a laser copier or a laser printer for best results. And have some fun with this. Think outside the box. Use what you have in your toolbox. You'll never know what you come up with. So I'm going to have a great week. It is my birthday week. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for coming and playing with us today, and we will see you next Saturday. We're doing a Valentine's piece called Be Mine, so come and join us then. We'll see you next Saturday. Mwah. Love you, and stay safe.
And pet your dog.
And pet your dog.